Be careful with the feet stumping too, because like the way the floor is, whenever y'all stump y'all feet, it's like
boom,
it's going crazy. Yeah.
What's good, everybody? This is Phresh Mental. This JB.
This Loso.
Scooter. And today we got a special guest. I'm gonna let him introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Greg Williams. I'm with Empire Properties.
All right. So this has been a couple weeks in the making. We very glad to have you on set. So tell us what's been going on. What you been into lately, Greg?
Well, man, let's see. To start, man, just the day-to-day business. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Greg Williams. I'm with Empire Properties. I have one of the largest Black-owned real estate companies in South Arkansas. So today we own a little bit over like 250 properties that spread out over about 7 different cities across South Arkansas. And so I spend most of my time in real estate. We also own Prime Liquor. I want to thank many of y'all, if y'all my customers coming by to support that. So
you know they come.
we and my wife owns Success Learning Academy. So my wife has a daycare. So Sean can probably how that is when you supporting a strong woman that's successful in business. So I do a lot of I play more of a support role with my wife's business, but that's really what I'm up to these days.
Okay, so Greg, I can think back in high school. I remember the vending machines going up. You probably don't even think I remember this, you know what I'm saying? So the vending machines going up on the candy prices, and like you eventually started coming to school selling candy out of what is like a briefcase or whatever. Man, that was crazy. So my question is this: with everything you got going on, was this always the vision, or did this just like kind of build? Did you build up to this? Did it just like come to you later on in college or whatever?
Man, that's a great question. So, and all of us got kids, so
right.
It's one of those things. I think when I was younger, just like with y'all kids, you see certain things in them. They tend to have certain preferences and some tendencies that you see in them. But for me, man, I remember being lost at 18, and I always talk to like my sisters about this, especially like with my nephews and stuff. But from the ages of 18 to 22, man, it's tough as a Black man.
Right.
So I remember being 18, I felt very lost. I was uncertain about myself, unsure. And man, I was just really trying to kind of define who I was, because from the time I was like 6 to 18, all I did was play basketball.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember being 18, man, I'm on the college campus, not playing basketball, wasn't big enough, wasn't good enough to, play at Arkansas State or D1 school. So man, I just, at that point, I was just trying to figure out, like, man, who am I? What am I good at outside of basketball? And, I had a different major. I went in thinking I was going to major in engineering, and I did that because one of my stepbrothers was an engineer, and they were very successful. He lived a good life. And after like one semester, I was like, well, I would have flunked out trying to be an engineer. So then it came back to, man, what do you really enjoy? And it was business.
Right.
And I, like I say, it wasn't a grand plan, but I found that it was something that I liked. I was passionate about it, and I put all of that energy I was putting into sports and basketball. I just put it into like business class. So, Josh, man, when I was at school selling candy and all of that, that was, at the time, man, I didn't know. I just, it just made my blood kind of pump. You know what I'm saying? And it was almost like a high for me, man. So it was one of those things where, man, I majored in it. I actually was planning on, I wanted to be like a CEO of a large company. That was my plan. So I was going to go to college, get good grades, everything we used to tell our kids. Now I think the conversation has kind of changed, because we have a lot of Black people in entrepreneurship and doing many different things. But back when I was coming up, it was go to school, make good grades, get a job.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you didn't make good grades, and if you decided not to go to college, your parents was on you about getting a job. And, so for me, I was very committed to just really trying to be the best employee I could be, Hopefully get a good job. I worked at Murphy USA for 7 years. And, while I was in college, I wanted to be the CEO of a large company, but, man, my path was different.
Yeah.
I remember being like 20, and man, I met my first black millionaire. And he was his name is Dr. Lofton. And Dr. Lofton, he literally treated me and Jamar. And I had a couple other friends, which y'all would know Jamar Cunningham, but he literally treated us like we were his sons.
Yeah.
And one day, we hanging out in the Gillian, Dr. Lofton come in, and first thing he did, he started talking to us to Jamar. He told that Jamar had braids back then.
Yeah.
He's like, hey man, you talking about you want to be a CEO? You got to cut your damn hair.
Right.
But he was real like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was something that some other person probably wouldn't have said. And then he would tell me, man, you talking about you want a CEO? You need to have your own business.
Right.
And then he was like, let me tell you about what I really do. So he was a professor and he taught like political science and philosophy, but that was just like his day job.
Yeah.
But he owned like 40 doors of real estate. And he just told me, and he started talking to me about that, like, at 20, now I got access to a guy it's a black millionaire. I never met a black millionaire before.
Right.
And I was 20 and you have somebody like that that's like, hey, I'm gonna treat you like you mine. And it was just the conversations. Then he actually gave me a book. And the book was called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Mm-hmm.
So man, he gave me that book and I read it and it changed everything. It changed everything like in my mindset. Because again, I was showing these tendencies. I'm selling candy at school. I'm from a family of hustlers, right?
Yeah.
They doing what they do back then. So I'm seeing all this entrepreneurial spirit around me. Just didn't really have access to, a black businessman back then. And then when I got that access at 20, man, it was like my Martin Luther King.
Right.
It was like my Martin Luther King. And he's older now. I talked to him about 3 months ago. He's older. He's in like his early 80s. But I check on him like every couple months. I call his wife just checking on him because, like I say, he was like my Martin Luther King, literally.
Okay, so with that being said, like how detrimental, is it to have that, we can call it a mentor, you know what I'm saying? That the guy like that had that kind of guidance if you're going into entrepreneurship or want to be a CEO.
Man, it's so important. And for me, man, I've been blessed because kind of every stage you go to, I talked about kind of being 18 or 22, unsure, uncertain, don't know what the future holds. We all been through that.
Right.
Trying to find yourself, figure out what you're gonna do. So that was like my mentor from like 18 to 22. And then there was another kind of pivotal moment. I think I was like, I'm 36 now, so I was probably 30. Well, I was in a unique situation. I was 30 years old. I'm here in El Dorado. I think at that time, I probably had about $500,000 worth of real estate, but it was all paid off.
Right.
A dime on. And, I was told, again, by the people that I had access to, just being transparent, a lot of the black landlords was telling me stuff like, hey, don't buy more homes than you can work on yourself. They were saying things like, they were saying other things like, man, don't be buying these high dollar homes. And, just a lot of legacy knowledge. Not that they were wrong, because I don't think they were wrong. It was just, I was approaching it from a standpoint of kind of what I was hearing and what I was told. Then I'm 30, I got $500,000 worth of home paid off, don't owe anything. And then I get another mentor. He changed my life. So this guy, and I don't want to say his name just out of confidentiality, but he's a multi-millionaire right here in El Dorado.
Right.
And I don't know what it was. I always say God bless me. So now I'm 30. I've been doing real estate. I bought my first house at 23. So I've been doing it 7 years. And I was in a situation where I was property rich, but I was cash poor. I had assets. I ain't got no cash.
Right.
I ain't got nothing in the bank. Yeah, I got money coming in, but it's kind of going out. So I was in this situation where it's like, dang, I've been doing this for like 7 years. I'm working my job at Murphy. I'm doing this on the side. I'm putting everything in it, but I wasn't seeing the cash. I had this stuff, but again, it wasn't equate to what I was calling financial success. Got a mentor. Man, he told me straight up, Greg, stop buying them raggedy houses. Stop. He told me just like that. Stop buying that junk. Stop buying them raggedy houses. You need to buy better quality property. You need to focus on getting better quality residents. So you need to get in good neighborhoods. Man, when that man told me that, that's what I did. So I stopped buying houses in certain neighborhoods because, our mom and dad, they would live just about anywhere back in the day. Now our generation, we want nice homes. We want, we want luxury. Let's just be honest. We want something nice. And when he told me that, man, I went and got a loan. I put everything I had up. I went in and leveraged all them houses, and I took that $500,000. Well, it was $400,000 in equity because the bank gave me a loan for $400,000. I ain't go stunt. I ain't go ball. I ain't go doing nothing. I took.
I'd have been That's a strong man.
That's it. But I took that and I just reinvested, and that ultimately led to me buying that apartment complex next to Banderas Resort. And that was really the beginning of. That was really a turning point because it made me financially independent. I didn't have to have a job anymore. I still kept my job for, I don't know, maybe 2 years after that.
Right.
But it made me financially independent where I didn't have to work anymore. But I used all of that money to just scale and grow my business. And it was the best decision I made, when I went and got that loan, put everything up, and I just bet on myself. I know, Scott, we were talking before the camera came on. You like to gamble.
Definitely gonna be every time.
So with me, I'm a risk taker in business, though. I'll lose everything I got to you probably, shooting dice or something. But man, I take a lot of risks in business. So I'm at that point where I do take a lot of risks.
Higher risk, bigger the reward.
That's it. And you even seen that show, like I say. You and Nadine, y'all took a big risk even with that, going to the avenue.
Yeah.
So you're gonna see, it's gonna be risks along the way.
Speaking of that, like she always tell me, like, you don't believe in me? I'm like, no, it's not the fact that I don't believe in you. It's just I want to just make sure we're making the right move.
Absolutely.
Because one wrong fumble and two, we out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like she look at it like, well, I ain't gonna say she don't think I believe in her, but she always say stuff like, well, you said this a couple months ago. And I had to break it down to her, like, I said that because, you looking at it like, I'm going to get this building and it's going to be making this. Mm-hmm. But I have to put it to her on the realistic side.
Absolutely.
Like, what if you don't fill it up? Can we afford to, but she stay positive. So she know, like, if she positive about it, I'm going to have her back. That's just a part of it. Oh, yeah. You got to have that. I'm sure you like that with y'all.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm glad y'all brought that up because that was going to follow to my next question. How important is it when it comes to the partner you choose when you're trying to build for success, get to that level you want to be in, start businesses, just everything? Like, how important is the partner you have to you?
Man, when I say it's important, and again, I'm gonna keep it real.
Right.
I've been divorced before. I'm 36, so I don't have a situation where I was married to a person. I'm building. Like, I'm putting everything I got, into this. Like I was telling y'all, like when I say I was putting everything, it's been so many times I went into a bank and emptied my bank account because I believed in my dream like that much. I believe in this. I know what this is gonna be, and so many people ain't willing to do that. But I've done that several times. I hadn't done it in the last 5 years. Let me say that, but. In the beginning, you almost have to have that type of determination and will.
Right.
But man, I've lived that situation where, you're in college, you're young, you fall in love with somebody, get married, have kids, good person. But you building, and you chasing your dream, you put everything in it. And 5, 6 years later, you building. Look, I ain't trying to buy no bigger home, I ain't trying to drive no fancy car, like I'm building. I'm like, at this time, I'm in my early 20s. Like, I ain't trying to stunt. I ain't got no gear. I ain't got nothing. All I got is going into my dream. So I got in a situation where, like I say, sometimes you don't be aligned with your significant other. I've been through that. And, I went through a divorce that was like December 2018. And then me and my wife started dating, I think 4-5 months after that, we started dating my wife now, LaShonda. And man, it was just like, really, you gonna come to the rental property and like clean?
Right.
Like you
right.
gonna come decorate? Like it was just so different because she immediately like got on board with everything I was trying to do.
That was big.
Like man, it was everything.
Yeah.
Like it was everything again. And then man, you know, like I say, God blessed it. And you know, it just took off. Like I say, I was blessed to get that loan and to be able to, you know, grow my business and to make other investments in business. And even now, like, even with the liquor store, before me and my wife was married, we bought a business together.
Right.
You know, and we sat down and talked, and I was like, I'm gonna buy you a nice ring. And I bought my wife a nice ring. But I also told her, because we was getting engaged, I also told her, let's buy a business together. Because they ain't gotta give you money every time you need something.
Right.
They ain't gotta give you no money now.
Yeah.
You know, so if we buy this business together like we did with Prime Liquor, there's even a story behind that too. But like before we were married, we bought a business together. We bought Prime Liquor. We 50-50 partners. My wife had saved her money, saved mine. I think it only took us like $35,000 to get in that. So a business that's been a liquor store for 80 years.
35,000.
See, that's why I said the number. It only took, we put up $35,000. And I wanted to share that because I just wanted to share that number because a lot of times if you ain't been around people that's having these conversations, you don't know that's feasible.
Right.
You don't know it's feasible to save $35,000. I put up $17,500, my wife put up $17,500, and we bought some that at the time, I think they were generating like maybe $400,000 a year in sales, but it had been a liquor store in the neighborhood I grew up in.
Right.
It had been a liquor store for 80 years, and we got in it with $35,000. Damn, $17,500 a piece.
So, and of course, you know what I'm saying, we all, you know, shout out to Prime Liquor. We hope to get them as a sponsor one day.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
it's done.
It's your operation. But what was the discussion like? Because y'all not married yet,
Not
and
yet.
I mean, you got to think for the future. What was the discussion like when y'all were getting ready to go with the business together?
And just like Sean was saying, like, it's real conversations. It's like, look, this is business. Like, if we decide we don't want to be each other, we go on our separate ways, just know you own half of this and I own half of this.
Right.
Okay.
You know, and there's certain women you can have those conversations with.
Yeah.
Now, there's some you can't, you know, have that conversation with, but my wife was, you know, she's a professional woman. So she understood that. And even if it wouldn't have worked, we were still going to be getting money.
Right.
You know, we were still going to be getting money on the passive situation. So even if the romance and the love wasn't there, like, it's going to be respect there because, you know what, we were so 100, like, we still get money together. And then, to your point, there's always, anytime I go into something, I'm always thinking about what's my exit strategy. So what's the worst case? She buy me out. Don't work, buy me out.
Right.
You know, if it don't work, you know, I'll buy you out. You know, so it's just, you know, it's just one of those things. But back to that point, like, it's critical.
Yeah.
You know, it's critical to select the right partner. No doubt.
And that's not saying, you know, just because you and somebody don't work out, that don't mean they're a bad person.
No, not at
That
all.
just means, like, for a business mindset, you know, they not up for the task. Because you can be a perfect boyfriend or husband, whatever, and you can be like horrible with the business mind. So you got to kind of like balance it out. Just like me, like when I first got with my wife, like, man, I didn't know nothing about her. I didn't know nothing about owning a shop. I didn't know nothing. I didn't know nothing about this. So she got to talk to me about hair sales and this type of hair, this kind of hair. And she finally said, like, I want to own my own shop on the avenue. Like, she was big on the avenue. So I'm asking her, like, and it brought about many arguments because I was like, what's so special about the avenue? She was like, well, for one, I want to be like one of the first people to ever own a business, black people own a business on the avenue.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't resting in my head at first, like, why is, like, this shit high? Like, we talking, I won't say the number because I know she wants that out there. I don't care about, but we talking a big number. I'm like, man, you talking a couple $100,000. Like, nah, I ain't really with this right now, but let's talk about it. Let's wait, you know, like, I ain't saying we not gonna do it, but let's just wait for the perfect time. So, you know, she kept saying, like, listen, I'm telling you, like, it's gonna work. So finally, we agreed on it. I was like, you know what? If that's what you want to do, we're gonna go on and do it. But I told her, like, if you're gonna do it, you got to do it right. And I have my reasons for telling her you got to do it right, which I won't say. But I just told her, if you're gonna do it, you got to do it right.
Sure, you told me this when we started Phresh. We're gonna do this, we gotta do it right.
But because since you bring it up, certain people have to do everything right in life because you always have somebody watching. So I told her, if you're gonna do it, you gotta bring out all the bells and whistles. Like if that's going overboard with equipment, making sure the shop is right, 100%. I'm in with you. Like if that's like last year, like we probably took only 2 trips just to sacrifice to make sure the shop is right. You know what I'm saying? Like it take a lot of sacrifice.
Absolutely.
To make sure, to get you where you want to be. And a lot of people don't want to sacrifice.
I totally agree with you.
Some people just all for self. Like, it's been plenty of days, bro. Like, I done got off working 12 hours, and she texts me like, hey, baby, you come to the shop and do this? In my mind, I want to say, fuck no. But it's like, if I don't do it, Jody gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So I got to do it. I'm just keeping it real. If I don't do it, somebody gonna do it. So I'd rather me do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't tell her no when she needs something done. I got to do it. That's why I say like just because something didn't work out with somebody. Just like his wife, I don't know his ex-wife, but he probably not saying she's a bad person. I had to clear it up because somebody would run and say, "I agree with them talking about you." But that's not the case.
No, not at all.
He just was saying that they don't got the same mindset as far as a business. That's all it is.
Oh yeah, and again, great mom, great woman, educated, all of that. It's just our goals and dreams wasn't really aligned.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, I'll be honest. I wanted to be a millionaire. I wanted to be rich since I was a little boy.
Right.
I wasn't gonna settle for nothing less than that. So that's what I wanted. That's what I was going for. But some people, they just want to be comfortable. There's nothing wrong with that. So my life now, I would have never been here with my life now. Even though it has its pros and cons, just like anything else. But my wife now, she loves the life she got.
Right.
We've been blessed.
So, my next question is this. You made a point, like, I think on several occasions where you said, I emptied out my bank account to go do this.
Oh, yeah.
So let me go to that topic where people say they only see the shine, the good, but they don't know what you went through. You kind of run that by people, because a lot of people who just see, oh, you doing good, oh, he got this and that, but they don't know the sacrifice that came behind what you
that
did.
same sacrifice Sean was talking about. And I use the example Williams Foods, because a lot of people probably remember when I opened that store up, I bought that store. We were kind of talking offline before this, but I remember buying that building. My boy Marquis encouraged me to buy the building. He called me one day like, hey man, I got a lead on this building. I think you need to get some property on Hillsborough because we know that they are going to expand that road, the highway department coming through. I'm like, yeah, I hear you, bro, but man, I don't know. That's a bad building. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I ended up grabbing a building for like $25,000. I put my business plan together.
Really don't even be there.
That's why we got to talk like this.
During the pandemic, well, we been supposed to God.
Bro, if people hear us talking like this, then they know it's possible to them. And like I said, that's why I'm here, because I want to be transparent. Because if you know you can get in something like that and you get 25, 30,000, maybe somebody out there could be like, hey, Greg, I'm thinking about this, and it's a conversation. Like, hey, I could put you with this person, but anyway, Williams Foods, $25,000. That's what I paid for the building. But I put a business plan together to restore the store and get it into the condition it's in today. So the bank gave me a little money. I don't even remember how much it was, but it wasn't very much. So at some point through like this 8-9 month process of working on that store, I was in a situation where I think I had like $100,000 out of my pocket that was in the store. And that's a situation where, like, literally, I had like 100,000 in that store at that time. This is right prior to, like, just right during the pandemic. I had like 100 G's in the store, and then I had some other money. And me and my wife laugh about this now when it's funny then. But man, I had money tied up in the stock market because me thinking I'm a day trader. don't trade stocks. So, but I'm thinking I'm a day trader. Think I know shit. Think I'm gonna make some quick money. So I think I had like, I don't know, $50,000, $60,000 that was in the stock market, but it was stuck because I bought the stock too high, and there was Murphy Oil Corporation stock. I bought it too high. There was a conflict between like Russia and some other country. People out here, the stock people know what I'm talking about. They dropped to like $5 a share. So what I had like 50, 60,000 in, it was worth $5,000. So now I can't sell it. So now I'm at a point, Josh, where I got 100,000 in this building. I invested in this stock. It dropped.
I'm
I
crying.
can't sell it because if I sell it, it's a loss. All I can do is wait
That's so dangerous.
for it to come back. And I'm working on a grocery store. You know, so I'm in this situation. But you know, like I say, I was in that situation, and even when that stock fell, and several people out there, I called them and told them it hit 5, go buy it. Man, I had several friends make $30,000 off that. You know, when it came back up, they made money. I broke even. But I was in that situation, man. I had put a lot into that store, got it open. Stock market came back, so I had some money back. I think I had like a 6 to 8 month run on it, and ultimately, I just didn't have the time to be there and be there to really run the store and all of that. So I was losing money every month. People didn't realize that I'm losing $5,000 a month operating the store. But again, anytime I go into some, I already know how I'm gonna exit. So I never wanted to be a grocery store operator. I'm a real estate man. So I ultimately ended up selling the store for several $100,000s between the highway department and another group I sold it to. And I walked away with 6 figures. So I got all my money back that I had in it, and it was a 6-figure flip. And I flipped it, it probably took about, I don't know, maybe 18 months, but I walked away with, a few $100,000 off that.
So I heard you talk about an exit plan and everything you do. So when you say exit plan, are you planning to exit, or are you just saying an exit plan just in case it don't go how you?
So absolutely, it's just like what you said. Like anytime, and me, I believe in real estate heavily. Real estate has made more millionaires than any other business. So for me, if I do a business, to hedge my risk, I always own real estate. And I was in, like I say, if I wouldn't have owned my building at Williams Foods, it would have been a loss. The way I was able to cover my loss, I sold it to the highway department, and then I turned around and sold it to another private investment group. I sold that building. Baby, I got 2 checks on that.
Right.
But my boy Marquis was the one who told me to buy because it was coming through there. So, but to your point, man, I'm one of those kind of what if persons. So, man, in El Dorado, it's hard to do business. Right. You don't know what people are going to support, what they're not going to support. So for me, man, I just made sure that anything I go into, man, I know exactly how I'm going to make money. So if this don't work, if I don't get 200 customers there at the grocery store, at some point, I know I can sell it, walk away with my money, and the next person will come there and probably be very successful.
So why do you think it's hard to own a business in that? Or do you think it's the people, or do you think it's just, what do you think is the problem in that rate with support?
Man, I think it's a combination of things. Like, for me, it's really hard to anticipate what type of business they're gonna support. Like, for me, I'll be honest, I had a false positive. I had the liquor store, and I was seeing, man, we doing really good at this liquor store. So naturally, I assumed, because I'm selling alcohol, I'm selling all the sin products, right? And so I automatically assumed, man, if I put like a grocery store right in the area, they just gotta be able to support. They gotta do good. You know what I mean? But there was a piece that I owned that on the execution side, I probably didn't execute it quite like it probably needed to be. But there was also this piece where I just didn't get enough foot traffic at that store. There's some things I probably could have done, but also I learned from that. It humbled me a lot too, because I thought I could just jump into anything and make money off of it. But I learned, no. It don't work like that. Like if you're gonna do business, like it needs to be well thought out, just like y'all thought through this product. It needs to be a plan, you need to be executing. Like there's really no shortcuts to having a successful business, and that I learned that from an experience. But so I wouldn't necessarily say it's the people's. From my experience, some of it was on my execution, but some of it was, there were some people, I had some support where people would make a conscious choice. Hey, instead of driving Brooks's, I'm gonna stop and shop. There were some people that they just living their life. They ain't thinking about this damn business. Like, let's just be honest. Like, ain't nobody thinking about this business. I've always been to Brooks's and Walmart.
Right.
Totally fine. You understand that people spend their money however they, wherever they want to spend it. You got to be okay with that. So that's kind of what I saw in it, and ultimately, I made my money off of it. Because if I'm gonna do business, I'm gonna do it to make some money. I ain't doing it for no other reason. I don't have a nonprofit.
And I'm not trying to put you out. I'm actually glad you said what you said, because anybody else would have got in front of this camera and said they was hating on me. Like, people just used to Brooks's and Walmart.
That's it.
And you know what? Like, I used to want to feel like that when I first started my sports work.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a homeboy around the time, I ain't gonna say his name, he was starting one of the first thing you gonna do is say, man, they ain't supporting me because of this and that. But when you realize, I need to analyze myself. What am I doing? Hey, it ain't just the product problem. It's probably the way you market it, the way you pushing it. And shout out to Shakola, because like, as far as marketing and hitting my brand build up, it was a day and night when she came in. Sometimes it's you. And sometimes you got execution. Yeah, I saw that sometimes it's you when you got to change the way you approaching this thing. Just because you putting it out there and you black and everybody know you, that don't mean they have to buy your product. You still have to give them something to look forward to when you selling the product. So that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
So I remember one day I came to your office when you was over there on.
I was on Faulkner. Were we on Faulkner?
Faulkner. I think I was on Faulkner.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I actually sat with you to get some advice from the jump.
Absolutely.
And you said one of the main things is don't always come out your pocket. Don't use your money. So this is like very informative, this conversation right here. So what are some financial resources you can tap into if you need assistance with funding your new business?
Yeah. So for me, there's a few of them. My number one source is I use bank money for nearly everything. So I probably got a list of 5 banks that I have borrowed millions of dollars from. And it's easier to borrow $1 million than it is to borrow like 10,000. Literally.
Why is that?
Banks make more money off of $1 million. They get more interest off of it. They'll put you under more scrutiny for a $10,000 loan than they will for $1 million. So the number one is banks. Now you gotta have some decent credit now. Now at that time, I just now got good credit probably a year ago because I'm always using my credit.
Yeah.
But I think at the time when I first got started, I had like a 680 or something. I ain't have. You don't need perfect credit. But like I say, so bank money is the number one source. Of course, during the pandemic, I tapped into a lot of that EIDL and some of those loans that was really easy to get. I used some of those to make certain business deals. Another source I've used, y'all don't think I'm crazy, but I'm gonna tell y'all this, because there's a lot of money y'all missing right now out there. Y'all know that junk mail y'all get where they send you a letter and say, hey, you've been pre-approved for like $15,000 on a loan.
Yeah.
Y'all get them in the mail, right?
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Use them. That's how I got started. So when they sending them, you've been approved for $30,000, $20,000, you're like, hey, I ain't applying for that. No, I was calling them people back. Hey, tell me more about this. And I was using that money. Now it's high interest debt. We call it hard money. It's a high interest loan. But if I'm flipping a house, Scott, you flipping a house, it's gonna take me 90 days. Do I give a shit if I'm gonna pay 20% interest for 90 days, and I know even when I factor all that in, I'm walk away $40,000.
Right.
Do you care?
I'm gonna be thinking about that.
Exactly. You won't be. But what people do, they get tied up on, man, that's a 20% interest rate. They get all sides.
They ain't seeing the bigger picture.
And I'm saying, man, I don't want to use my money. I'm gonna use theirs, pay them their interest, and I know it's gonna be sold in 90 days.
Right.
So I was using that. I was using that. as you get more experience, it's gonna be some other products that become available to you, like credit lines and using business credit and some of that. But those are really the three sources if you just get started. Those are three sources.
Man, I'm sitting over here thinking about that 35,000. Man, me and my homeboy been that deep.
Yeah.
You used to tell us during the pandemic, though.
I did, and I stopped saying stuff like that because I'm big on, man, I don't ever want to tell people how to use their money, what to do. Live your life. I live mine. You know what I'm saying? But man, I just didn't know, like, there wasn't this in 2020 where we can come sit down, have a conversation. It wasn't this here. So how else do you do it? And then with our culture, you put some stuff out there, that's like, great, you can't.
Right.
No. A lot of it would be, man, he already got it though. You know what I'm saying? They'll say, man, he already got it though.
Or he think he better than this.
It's easy for him because he already got it. But man, you been putting some gems out here letting us know the process and the journey that you went on. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, what expenses do you consider when you're getting ready to start a new business? What expenses should you consider?
Man, and I want y'all to join in on this because, man, it's gonna depend on the business, but man, anytime, especially if you got like a brick and mortar business, like you're gonna do some sort of remodeling or something. So you gotta always consider that. And for me, being in real estate is always my number one. That's like one of my biggest expenses. My labor is really high because we run payroll every single Friday, and I got my wife. She got like 17 people at the daycare. We got 5 at the liquor store. I got about 10 at the real estate between the different locations. So you're gonna have labor, and that's every Friday. So that's one of our biggest expenses. At the liquor store, inventory is gonna be our biggest expense because man, if you ain't got the product, it's hard to make the sale. Sean, what was some of y'all's what?
You talking
With startup, yeah, with just
Equipment.
Equipment. The biggest thing.
For some reason, she wanted all new equipment. Like everything old had to go. And I didn't understand why, but
From the old shop?
yeah.
What she selling is just...
Some she sold, some she gave away. But in my head, I'm like, well, it was working fine here, so why we just can't unbolt this shit and take it over to the new store.
But you know how women is, though.
I mean, that's just one of them things. Like, either I'm gonna get with the program because she gonna do what she wanna do anyway.
Oh, yeah.
When once she got her mindset on something, bro, it ain't nothing I can say. She gonna go. So I had to just get with the program. You know what I'm saying? Like she ordered all new equipment, even the mats the workers stand on. Like everything new, chairs, mats, blow dries, shampoo bowls, all that new. You know what I'm saying? Like everything, she just felt like she just wanted a fresh start, which I get. You want to start fresh.
When the grand opening?
It was actually supposed to be March, but I actually think we're gonna push it back to like May, just so everything can be, right. But we'll let y'all know we might set up for the grand opening. You never know. We might set up for the grand opening and shoot a fresh minute episode.
Most definitely. Okay, well, usually this be the time where we get questions from the viewers. I don't know if they really asking a lot of questions right now.
Hey, listen.
She talking about the shampoo balls had to match.
Do anybody got questions in the comments that y'all want to ask Mr. Williams today?
She got a sign up. So I do got a question. Like when you out around town, it could be you or you and your family. Do people come to you like, oh, you think you better than us, or you don't get that vibe? Or?
I really haven't dealt with that very much.
That's cool.
Because normally, I'm not walking around in suits and all that.
Right.
Sweats and hoodies. I'm muddy, I'm dirty from being in the house or crawling in the attic. And so I haven't dealt with that much, but I can tell you what I have dealt with. And it's hate and jealousy. Yeah. I've dealt with that a lot. So people don't mind you getting ahead as long as you don't get ahead of them.
Right.
So it's all good if they think they're ahead of you, or maybe y'all neck and neck, and I've never been one to, put people down or talk at people. I'm not even like that. But I have, you're gonna deal with that. When money involved, you're gonna deal with that. You're gonna have some people that maybe never expected you to get to the point where you at, and they can only see you for being poor broke Greg over, on East First Street.
Yeah.
And it's hard for some people, to kind of see you in that light. So I've dealt with that over the years, man. But that just kind of comes with the position. If I was, if I've never been that type to, be like that with anybody. I have friends that have way more and way less than me.
Right.
It doesn't matter. What does it matter? And it's a lot of times, man, I'm the brokest person in the room.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's a lot of time, and what I'm doing, I'm sitting back, I'm asking questions. Hey, man, how you do that? Hey, you know this, man, how you getting old? Man, is it really what I think it is? So that's kind of been my story, but you are going to get that. And I think it's just a part of being the culture.
Right.
Yeah.
We're a part of the culture, man. You're going to get something. And,
Niggas.
that kind of comes.
So did you lose any friendships along the way?
Oh,
Or?
yeah. It's been, I won't say the person's name, but I've had some really close friends that I, lost over like the past 7-8 years. Some that was painful to lose.
Right.
Because of, you grow up with a person from, kindergarten on through, but, and they still good people, but, with some things, it's just hard to really recover from. But that's going to happen, man. And unfortunately, man, I've never been the type to say I outgrow anybody. I don't outgrow anybody. It's always going to be a part of me that's still 18, and we shoot the shit with you. We're going to talk about our hoop dreams. I'm always
I'm talking about
it's
them
some
all
of my
every
best
day.
times in my
You
life.
be posting about it. You got
Man, listen, I could literally be walking to the refrigerator. I'm finna do a Euro.
Man, I still dream about playing high school basketball.
Me
There's
too.
times I wake up oh shit, I ain't 18 hooping no more.
Man.
So part of me, I'm always have certain friendships and relationships, and I never replace that regardless of where we go in life. But that's a part of it though, man. It's just gonna happen. You start getting some real money, you start doing real business and legit business. We do legit business. If I can help you, I can help you.
Right.
But if I know you ain't got no job, you done been evicted all over town, don't come ask me to live in my homes.
I think the biggest thing.
It's business. You know what I
business
mean?
is-
It's personal.
You don't
work everybody.
you don't work better. You ain't gonna treat me no different.
Yeah.
And the
Mike gonna
biggest,
treat you worse because they know you.
and the biggest thing with that is, I'm gonna just say y'all, for example. Let's just say you got a successful business, and y'all been best friends since y'all was 5. In his head, he thinking, "Oh, well, Greg's supposed to take me with it." It don't work like that. You got to do it yourself, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just because you're a successful business owner, you don't supposed to take your best friend with you like that. I mean, it just don't work like that in business. You got to have the word in within yourself.
Now let me say this: what I've been really blessed to do is you do get to a point in life where, when you get, you making the type of money you never thought you could make. The people close to you, they benefit from it.
Right.
So I may not be able to, do this or that for you, but I can give you opportunity.
Yeah.
So for me, the people closest to me, they know the type of money that we done made together. Where I done told them they buy this house. Trust me, don't ask me no questions. Buy this house, and and we gonna flip it, and you're gonna be happy. And I take I ain't gonna say his name, but a lot of people know this story. But I take somebody that's making $12 an hour, and then we go under my guy. And you walk away with $80,000 on a flip.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
so it's
Let's talk
situations
about
like
that.
that where it's well, no, I didn't give you really anything other than my time.
Yeah.
But I told you, buy this. Here go all the information. This is what I see. And if you trust me and we go through the process, you're gonna make it back.
Right.
And there's several people around me that, and again, that's made that type of money. Do they work for me? Nah. Did I give them a house? Nah, nothing like that. that. My mom get those benefits,
Right.
But friends, close family members, all that, no, we do make money together. And even, even my best friend Jamar, that's been one of the best things for me because I got a guy that's like one of my best friends. We've been best friends since like 7, 8 years old. And for us to have the rise we have, but we always was helping each other.
Right.
Like we were always helping each other, sharing, hey man, this, and then it was always like we pushed each other. Oh man, you don't get 100,000. Okay, cool. I'm gonna do a quarter million. All right, you got to go. Okay, we're gonna keep running it up. So it's been it's been a blessing to have a friend that has had kind of that same rise, and then I've even had friends I went to college with. Several of them, they're called, man. I mean, it's just that effect. Like you end up seeing a man that's just working his job, and then look up, he working his job, and he got $2-3 million worth of real estate. And he getting his money passively. He's still working his job.
Right.
Because we trying to make money. Like we ain't letting that go. Yeah. Keep working your job. So there's just been so many cases of that where, no, did I give a person some? No, but what I did do is share opportunity.
So it's somebody right now working at 9 to 5 with making $12. So you got somebody who, what they call them, living room warriors. Maybe somebody old. Let's not leave them out. They want to get started, man. They want to change their life. Is it ever too late? And if not, what would be the motivation you would give all those people?
No, it's never too late, and it don't take a whole bunch of money. I was just talking about like how me and my wife saved $17,500 a piece and bought a liquor store that's gonna make money forever.
Right. Because people don't drink. People
like,
don't drink. They'll stop drinking.
How many times that total $35,000 investment has turned over? But if I'm that person, and at one point I was that person, because when I bought my first piece of real estate, I was 23 years old. I made $24 an hour. Literally $24 an hour. A lot of the guys at the plant make way more money than what I made then. I made $24 an hour. I got a tax refund check. It was $4 grand. And in a year, I saved $6 grand. So I had $10,000. And I went and, put that into real estate, and it kept turning over and over. So I was using, I would buy a house, remodel it, get it going, pull it out. I would just keep doing it. I was recycling the same money. I didn't have a whole bunch of it.
Okay, we had one question in the comments. Did you apply for grants, and if so, which ones? Or do they vary over time?
So there was one grant in 13 years. I've only got one grant. And that one grant was affiliated with like the EIDL. I don't even remember the name of it. But there was a grant where, depending on what type of business you had, I think they was giving like $1,000 or something per person or something like that. That's the only time I've gotten a grant. What I've benefited from at times was like a low interest loan. So there are some programs through like the SBA where you can borrow money at like 1%. That's, but I've never, other than that one occasion, that's where I got a grant.
Man, we was getting them EDDs and PPPs. We should have. I remember, man. God.
But it's only so much you can.
We should have listened, but we'll be up right now.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's only so much you kind of put out there, but yeah, man, and that was some good times. Those were some good times for a lot of people, man. Like,
one day going on.
The thing about it, I don't think nobody realized how cheap you can get a business started with.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you
$35,000,
when you think about a business, you thinking at least 100,000. That's what the average person
that's what they
thinks.
think.
They
going
going
50 or better.
average black person going in thinking like, man, I don't even got the money to fund this. Not realize people riding around in $35,000 cars. Like people fixing up old school, putting in the old school. You could go down, model business.
That was literally
That's crazy.
That was the down payment, and they gave us a loan for the rest. And that included, in that price we paid, that was inventory. We had all the equipment we need, and it was making money. And our note on it, one day of sales pays the business loan. Right. It's like, it's simple math. One day of sales pays your note to the bank.
I know through the first about the 15, y'all know, but now
my kids will make money off this.
So do you got any business like in the near future that you plan on?
I do. And me and my business partner, we hadn't really talked about it publicly yet, but I
Okay.
want to say this. So in about 30 days, we are going to be rolling something else out. It's on the avenue. I'll say that. But so what ends up happening, I told y'all the mistake I made at Williams Food. It's something about that third business, man. I had 2 successful businesses and I tried to put a third business in the mix. I thought it was gonna be additive to what I had. But due to me not having the time and the execution, it actually subtracted from what I was making. So I didn't want to make that mistake again. So what me and my wife talked about was, if I do a third business, I would have to do it with a business partner. And Marquis Cook is my business partner in the next venture. And we worked it out to where, and that's the other thing, man. We worked it out to where he has other business going as well, and I do too, but he's gonna primarily be, running the operations.
Right.
It's really hard for me I just can't sit anywhere all day for one thing, because I'm in 7 other towns, and certain days I'm not even working in El Dorado, so my time is, you get to a point where, time is your biggest resource. So man, having a business partner on this was absolutely critical. And I want to do more of that in the future where, man, maybe, due to mentorship guidance, funding the idea, and, partnering with people that I know are passionate about what they're doing, they really want to go after their dream. I want to ultimately get to a place where I can help fund other people's ideas. Yeah, I'm going to have a stake in it. But also, you're going to have a person that's going to believe in you.
Right.
I'm going to refine the process privately. I'll mature you on publicly, you know what I'm saying? And you have a safety net so I want to get to a point where I can do more partnerships with people on, different things I always wanted to do. Because there's only so much time in a day. I've made a little bit of money to where money is not, one of those things that is my number one priority. At a point, I had to make sure I was stable. I got kids, I got a wife, I got bills. I would have banked over $10 million, because of my real estate portfolio. So it's one of those situations where, you really, and every day I get up, just like we talked about. I would be so bored if I just sat at home every day.
Right.
Every day you're going to get up, go to work. Every day I'm getting up, I'm going to work. I'm out here at these raggedy apartments I'm working on. Out in Wildwood, that is a project I'm working on. If y'all ride by, there was some blue apartments in Wildwood.
On the left.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to figure out what it was in. If I had said, I was like, man, I was from somewhere.
Yep, so in about another month, y'all go by them, you won't even believe what they look like. So, that's what I spend most of my time doing. I'm at different apartments, communities and all of that, just spending that time there. But, time is so important, man. And I do want to encourage people to not think when you go in business, you need to be a 100% owner. Take on a partner. My wife is a partner in one business. I'm taking on another partner in another one. Just like y'all doing. Y'all partners in this.
Man, he ain't my partner.
How many properties you say you had when we first started?
And I always say about. And I explain why I say about. We got about 250. And I say about because literally a couple times a month I'm buying properties. Some of them I hold, some of them I hold them for 90 days and sell. So that number, it just kind of bounces around.
Yeah, I know they get stressful keeping up with all that.
Yeah, we got a team, and let me shout out my team. At my real estate company, everybody know my mom, Miss Joyce. My mom is like my business manager in the office. So she runs anything related to, a resident or a bill, somebody I owe or they owe us. My mom is really over that. But Tay Davis, she's my property assistant. So anything, and y'all all know Tay.
Talking to someone that called him little man the other day.
So y'all know Tay. So anything dealing with people, residents, any concerns, Tay handles a lot of that. So and it takes a lot to run. We'll collect 1.5 million in rent this year. So when I started, it was $900 a month. Gotta have a team. And I see how y'all looking, but that's the point. If I don't say that, who knows that's even possible?
All right.
But
You put these numbers out here in our favor.
You know, but the point
They
is,
sound so good.
They do.
but that's
Just reach out and just grab outside.
but that's just in rent, you know, and again, that's gross, that ain't our profit or nothing like that, but that's what we got to run the operations with, and we got a bunch of expenses we pay every month.
Right.
I pay $55,000 a month in mortgages.
Right.
You know, so a lot comes out of that. And again, I'm just sharing that because this is business. But it's a whole team, and carpenters and country, it's a whole team. When I'm flipping houses, I got crews that's all they do. I don't let them work on my rent houses. I may go buy 3-4 houses at a time and they sit until we can get to them, but it's just a whole operation, and there's several people that's behind all of that. But that's why I say, man, that number just bounces up and down because we selling stuff, we bringing stuff on. I love flipping houses. So, Josh, back to your question. Somebody asked, man, I want to make, I don't know, $30,000, $40,000. They asked me how I make $30,000, $40,000.
I want to make $34,000.
Flip a house, you know, and
I'm gonna make 1.5 million.
so
That-
go flip a house, literally flip a house. And we see all these houses around town, grass grow up tall, ain't nobody there. Go through Mermaid. You know, you can go through, I flip houses in Mermaid. Nobody even realized that. You know, but it's times I flip a house in Mermaid. Buy it for 30, you know, turn around, flip
The house in Mermaid for 30?
Well, that's what I was doing. Yeah, I sold, I done them over there. I bought them for 30, put 15 in it, sell it for 8. You know, so this stuff you can do, this stuff I've been doing for 13 years. You know, and it's stuff that, you know, anybody can do because all of us know people in our family that's handy. Sean, you done picked up some skills. I'll be seeing you doing some everything down there.
He over there playing. He over there coaching and playing.
I tell you what, you gotta like borrow the bills. I went and bought a whole tool set.
I saw that too.
I went and bought a whole tool
Well,
set.
the tools expensive
No,
too.
Paul, I did not know tools that
Oh,
shit.
they are. And only moan tools.
Man, see, you don't got to. I got to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to where you at, where I can point a finger and be like, hey, fix that.
Fix that.
I'm trying to get there.
Okay. So we got another question though. This question is, we got about a couple now. They say had 7 streams of income to be a millionaire. What do you think about that, Greg?
I think on average it's the truth, but this is what ended up happening. Y'all heard me talk about real estate, like rent houses. You heard me talk about flipping houses. Those are 2 separate streams. Then you heard me talk about the liquor store. Then you heard me talk about my wife daycare. Then the part that you hadn't heard me talk about is what happens when you actually accumulate a bunch of money. What happens? What happens if you accumulate, I don't know, $1 million? Now you get an interest distribution every month. Because guess what? If you take your money, at some point you're gonna save. At some point you save your money, you spend your money, and you invest your money. But what happens when you save a bunch of it? Because you just hadn't, we live regular lives.
Right.
We ain't flying private, we ain't doing nothing crazy. We sacrifice. Then you get paid, and that can equate to thousands and thousands of dollars. And that becomes a monthly income stream. So now you at like 5. We talked about like me and Marquise doing some business at 6.
Yep.
So man, you get in this situation where just by following your dream, you're able to come up with, and I'm not even in the stock. I told y'all, I ain't doing that no more. That's just not for me. It's people that's for. But you can get in a situation. I totally believe that, millionaires have all those different income streams. What I can tell you, and a job. Let's not exclude that, and that's when I say a job, that's just trading time for money. It's times I trade time for money. It's like, we can discuss that, or it's somebody else need me to do and I gotta go. Yeah, I'm gonna charge for that. Now I don't do it locally here, but if I gotta go to Memphis to be at a seminar, yeah, it's my fee to come do that. So you look up and I just call it a job. It's time for money. But you at 7 and we ain't even really, we just scratching the surface. So I do believe that. But the thing I was gonna say, it's really hard to make it off one income stream. I've been there. Man, I've been there. And it's hard. You can make it, you can be comfortable, and you can live a very comfortable life. But if you really want to really live a life where you can be totally financially independent, you gotta have multiple streams. You just got to. You know, I mean, I don't know a millionaire personally that don't have probably 6 or 7 different streams. And I probably know about 5 millionaires. And I'm talking in cash. I'm not talking about assets. And they probably make money all different type of ways.
Okay, so the next question is, do you recommend building relationships with regional community banks as opposed to larger banks?
Absolutely.
If so what would say are the pros and cons?
Yep, this is the pros and cons. So when I first got started, I was 23. I went to just about every bank in town. I went to like 7 banks. Everybody told me no, they wouldn't give me a loan. The one bank that did was Southern Bancorp. And that loan officer name was Janita McAdoo at that time, and she helped me get started. Since then, what I run into in my business is that the larger banks they have like minimum, like loan minimums. So if you go to Regions saying you want to buy a $40,000 rental house, guess what? Regions Bank is gonna be like, no, our minimum is like $100,000. I know, I've been there and asked. You go to Smackover State Bank, they like, yeah, Mr. Williams, let's do it. You know what I mean? So they love them. You see what I'm saying? Like, y'all with Smackover?
Nah, I'm just
You
saying.
need to go to Smackover. And this is also what happens.
Smackover.
And this is also what happens with community banks. You know them. So I can call the president of Smackover Bank, First Financial. I can call the president of Farmers Bank and Trust. You know, and you can have a real conversation. When you get in those big banks, you ain't calling Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase or none of that, but it's just different. And the local banks are truly vested in El Dorado. I don't know about y'all, I love El Dorado. And I get annoyed when I see people complaining about El Dorado.
Yeah.
We all want El Dorado to be better, but I get annoyed when people are like, oh, I just want to leave. I'm like, El Dorado ain't holding you hostage.
Right.
It's all right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is the only city I probably gonna ever really live in. I want it to be the best it can be. We all do. That's why we all vested in it. And, you know, so for me, it's just like with those banks, they here to make sure, you know, El Dorado got businesses. They gonna loan for local businesses. Absolutely. Focus on community banks. The downside, because I gave y'all the pros. The cons is with a small bank, and I've lived this, is you end up hitting what they call personal loan limits. So some bank, one bank here in town, I think their limit was like $3 million. So I borrowed $3 million, they won't give me another loan. I pay that note every month, no problem. But that's the only downside I see, is that depending on how big your dream is, so one small community bank wouldn't loan me enough money. You know, I'm trying to get to like 50 million in property. We somewhere between probably 17 to 18 million right now. So I'm having to use multiple community banks to be able to fund my company. Now I got to figure out how I'm gonna go from where I am today to 50 million. You know, getting enough loans to be able to grow the company to 50 million in assets, but where a bigger bank, like a Bank of America, they got the money. They'll do one loan for 30 million.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it takes steps to get there. I'm not there yet, but that's going to be the only con that I truly have experienced with smaller banks or big ones. But I know that's the answer.
All right, we got another one. Have you ever experienced a time where a relationship with a business partner conflicted business?
Oh yeah, it's tough. It happens. Sean kind of talked about it earlier. You know, I've had situations. I mean, I'm gonna say this. It's
hard to deal with.
Look, I'm gonna say this.
That's why we can't be partners right there.
Yeah, I've had some. I'll call them different opinions. You and your business partner never gonna be 100% aligned on everything. But what I look for in a good partner is, when we do disagree, how do we communicate?
Right.
When we do have a failure, mistakes gonna happen. When that ball get dropped and things happen, how do we work through it?
I sure hope my lady listen to this.
You know, and And again, it's a work in progress. Me and my wife, we got business together, and there's times where we do have different opinions. And it's you'll think it's a democratic debate because we're gonna sit down and really talk about this and try to make the best decision. But yeah, I have experienced that, expected. But like I said, the things I look for is, when failure happens, it will happen in business. How do y'all deal with that? When y'all got a conflict, how do y'all communicate? I've been in a situation before where I wanted to sell, partner didn't want to sell. And I'm sitting up here like, do you know what we can make on that? You're going to walk away with $100,000. And for other reasons, they're like, nah, I can't sell. Well, now I can't sell. But you got to be patient enough to say, you know what? I know we're going to eventually sell. Maybe not right now. So then you got to come back and say, hey, how about we sell this? Because at the end of the day, and it's tough in business because some entrepreneurs, we get so passionate about business. We work in that store every day, shop, store, whatever. The office, if you could get lost in, man, you're here to make money.
Right.
Like, this ain't no non-profit. So we can make 5 to 10 years worth of profit right now. We gotta consider selling that. Yeah, we gotta consider selling that, taking that money, and we could go do some other business. And that's the other thing too. To really create real wealth, you got to be willing to sell something.
Yeah.
If you think about all the big celebrities, let's say Hov, when he sold off his stake in, what was that liquor? And he got the 700 million. It was some crazy number. If you think about even back in the day when Diddy sold what was their clothing line?
He finna sell everything.
Yeah, like you literally be having to sell assets in order to get the big money. Like when Dr. Dre sold a part of Beats and all of that, if you hold on to it, that's cool. It's gonna keep going up in value or whatever, but if you Dre do, you really turn down hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. You gotta be willing to sell. And it's tough, as black people, because we've been told don't sell nothing, hold on to it, give it to your kids, all that. Well, sell it, make your money, be straight, go build another business, and then give your damn kids a big pile of money. You know what I'm saying? And that's literally how I see it. I'm just being honest with you. That's how you do this. And that's even how I'm approaching my kids. It's there's nothing sacred about my business. If I want any property in it, think about it. The liquor store can be sold. Now, it's going to cost, but it can be sold. My wife daycare can be sold.
So everything can go.
It can go. We're not attached to none material. We love business. We love doing what we do, but it's business. And so often I see so many entrepreneurs, man, they hold on to their business too long. They're 60 years old, ain't put no money back, and they there, and, maybe a health issue or something happens, and what you left with? Well, you could have been sold this, had plenty of money, could be doing something else to keep some in your pocket. You could have sold that, had enough money to last the rest of your life. But we'll hold on too long, and then we don't really have nothing. So for me, I sell. Because at the end of the day, I want to be to a point where I don't have to work for money at all. So.
All right, we got we'll take one more question and get ready to wrap this thing up. Can you touch on having multiple LLCs to protect different assets?
Oh yeah, you better. So I think I probably got about 15 different ones. And the reason being is, let's just say this, just think about it. If something happened in Monticello, it has nothing to do with what I'm doing in El Dorado. So if I got them under the same LLC, let's say somebody get hurt, it's a house fire, somebody get hurt. First, I hope that never happens, but I've experienced house fires before. And fortunately, nobody's ever been hurt, but theoretically, if somebody got hurt in Monticello, and if I had it in the El Dorado LLC with everything else, they could sue me, and it could cost me for what I'm doing in El Dorado. So you need to break them up. Or if somebody slip and fall at the liquor store, I don't want them suing my real estate company. Right. It has nothing to do with anything. Yeah. Now, if they sue the liquor store, I understand that. That's what business insurance is for. And we'll deal with that accordingly with the insurance companies. But I absolutely recommend it. Don't put everything in one LLC. The other thing, even outside of that, we all got kids. What happens with child support and stuff like that? like you want to be shielded. There's so many different things you can do between LLCs. I'm just being honest. Like even because there becomes a risk, right? It's like think about how many men, and I'm in the same situation. Like just think about how many men. I don't care what amount of money you make. Think about how many men that we have to deal with. All of us can say, you know, and I don't care how I don't care how good you can be, how good you are to someone. What happens if one day they go up there and they file no papers?
You know that paperwork.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna happen at some point.
Yeah.
Like you gotta be able to, and again, LLCs and we can, whoever it is, they can hit me up in the DM and we can kind of talk about ways you can structure that to even protect
I
yourself.
think the Mars one.
Yeah, me and Morris, we can talk about that. That's what we're at.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's why we talking about this, right? Because it ain't just protecting yourself from a customer. It's like in business, man, people will try to attack you. Like you ain't gotta do nothing, but go to making some money and see who comes for you.
Right.
It's gonna happen.
How you ever deal with that? People trying to sue you over just a small
Hell yeah.
text stuff?
Man, I'm telling you this one story. So man, I had a drunk dude. This dude is a wino, bro. I had a dude get drunk and fall down the stairs in his garage apartment. He drunk and he broke his leg. He called my office every day. Hey man, I need your insurance company. I broke my leg. You know, I'm gonna sue you. This, and that. And I had a pretty straightforward conversation with him about it. Like, man, go on. Like, I'm not gonna waste my time with this. You were drunk.
Like you failed, yeah.
Like you drunk and fail, bro. But but that type of stuff will happen, man. Like, and you just gotta protect yourself because it happens. Now, if something like that was legit, like I said, a house fire, and if like I had a situation, and I can talk about it now, but I had a situation like 2 months ago where, and Latavia can tell you this, my assistant Tate, like we had a guy die in the house, and the first call I got was Latavia. I'm gonna tell you this, Tate ain't gonna embarrass you, but she called me. She, oh my gosh, Greg, he died. I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, yeah, he died. The police here, they said they smelled gas in the house when they went in. Well, I know we got carbon monoxide detectors all over the house, all this and that. But the first thing they said was, Greg, he died and they smelled gas. So, of course, Tay's there working with the family. I'm not even there. I'm en route. I'm on the phone with, insurance companies, make sure we cover from insurance. I'm on the phone with a plumbing company that we know we had to do the work. I'm doing all these other things. The last call I get, I'm talking to a detective that was on site after they wrapped everything up. And I confirmed, he's like, yeah, they left the stove on. It wasn't a gas leak, but they just left the stove on and it was seeping gas. So it went from that until like a week later, the detective called me and we talked. And he was like, yeah, the autopsy, he didn't die from carbon monoxide. He died from natural causes due to having diabetes. And at that point, as we went through the process, it was no longer a risk to me.
Right.
It was like, and then, working with the family, but we were showing empathy first because that's what it's about. And if he would have really died from some on us, we know insurance would, it's responsible for that, but we try to do everything the right way. So there's never a risk. But that stuff happens. It's real. But that's also why you have LLCs and all this other stuff in place, and to where, your business will deal with that and not be personal. Because Greg Williams didn't do anything, in that situation. It was the business that would have ultimately been responsible, but through the process, it wasn't on us.
Okay, so we got one more question. Can you touch on paying yourself as a business?
Oh, that's good. That's good. It's gonna depend on what type of business. Well, it's gonna depend on first what type of business. One of our businesses, Prime Liquor, we got what they call like an S Corp designation, so it's an LLC, but your accountant can tell you whether or not it's advantageous to elect to be taxed as an S Corp. If you don't go as an S Corp, you could just do like distributions for your business. If you go as an S Corp, you're paying payroll tax. So just like, if you're an employee, you paying those taxes. There's reasons to do that. Me, in my situation, I don't even do that. Me and my wife, we go with the option of just taking draws. you know, and taking what they call like a draw from the business, or it's really equity, but taking a draw from the business. So when we accumulate a certain amount of money, we'll just pull money out. But we tend to do that. And that has different tax advantages too by doing it that way. But it's going to be totally dependent upon the situation. There are reasons to do the S corp, you know, with your business too. And another one is because some people, like, let's say if you want to go buy a house, so you know you're going through the mortgage process. Well, it's much cleaner to be an S corp, and you know you're paying payroll tax, all that. You getting a check just like you would if you were working for somebody. Versus the loan draw, hey, you draw money whenever whenever it accumulate. That's different. So it's just pros and cons to both, but that accounting can really help do that. Can help answer that
I'm trying to get on my lady payroll right now.
You'll hire me too.
It's a story behind it, me buying two things. I tell it
All right, man. Well, it's been a great episode. Greg Williams been giving us gems. We really do appreciate you coming through. Like I said, we still gonna have you about that sponsorship. We'll talk about that off camera. Do you got anything to tell the people before we get up out of here?
No, and I said this before we came on camera. Man, we didn't have really something like this. This didn't exist till y'all got in this space. I think it's needed. I love the level of thought, execution, the quality. It's first class, and you guys are really executing this with excellence. Keep growing it, keep doing it. It doesn't matter how many people get on and look, it's gonna grow because of the way y'all approach it. So I want to encourage y'all to do this, continue to do it. Great work, but I just want to encourage y'all to keep doing what y'all doing.
Okay. We appreciate you coming on once again. Shout out Scooter, Sean, Shakola, Moose, Lydia, you know what I'm saying? The whole team making this thing possible, man. Make sure y'all go to YouTube and check out this episode. It'll still be up and available to go. Oh yeah, like and subscribe YouTube page, like the Facebook page, Phresh Mental, and like the Instagram page. And if all else, we'll see y'all next week. Peace.